Hey there, listeners. This is Carrie.
And Mackenzie.
Before today's episode, we want to remind you that the content in this episode is not intended as medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
The use of the information on today's podcast is at the user's own risk. Listeners should contact their doctor or other qualified medical providers for medical advice.
Now roll the intro. Thanks for listening. Please enjoy. He was the one with all of the mental health issues. He's the one who a psychiatrist just pretty much moved in with him.
What?
And had him drugged and diagnosed with things, and come to find out it was just because our fine friend, the shrink, wanted money. His money. And he wanted influence. Kind of like, did you watch that Will Ferrell, The Shrink Next Door?
Mm-mm.
That was a true story, too.
Will Ferrell was in a movie. Did he play the shrink?
No, he played the troubled man.
Oh, okay.
Makes sense.
Right. Yes.
Oh, you're a comedian, you're troubled.
Well, most comedians have mental health issues, so.
Indeed.
I don't have a statistic on that. Don't fact check me, audience members.
There's a show out. Actually, this could be a good one for summer. I think there are only like maybe 4 or 5 episodes, and it's comedians doing group therapy. And Neil Patrick Harris.
Is he the lead of?
He's the shrink. Or he's the MC.
The MC, yeah.
And they talk about their childhoods, where that comedy comes. You know, it's not meant to be. It's more documentary than anything else, and it's fascinating. I've only watched the first episode, though.
Well, yeah, that might be a good one to do. Like a quick and easy one. Mm-hmm. So, Carrie.
Kenzie.
Much Madness Podcast. Welcome back.
I didn't think we'd make it another week.
Every week it's a surprise if we make it through.
Yeah. Every week it's like, oh, we're recording? We have a podcast?
Well, and when I get the episodes uploaded so that they can be published, sometimes I will get like notifications from the platform that we use for publishing, and it says, you've made it longer than most podcasts do. Congratulations. I was like, wow.
That's pretty impressive.
Apparently, according to that platform, and I don't know how accurate this is, but it says, they are indicating that most podcasts will start and then they don't continue.
Oh, yeah, you find out it's hard, and
it is not easy.
It is not easy, and
well, and I can understand why someone makes this like their full-time job, or at least a part-time job. Like,
if you and I were to record and research like full-time, and then that's when you get to have the free time. Okay, we record every day at this.
Right. Yeah.
Or every couple of days.
Think about it. We could do like an episode every day if we didn't have other things going on in our life.
No one else would want to hear us every day except
you don't know that. I have had people tell me that they wish that we did more, and I was like, this is tough. Like, this is hard to.
And I think it's harder for you because you'll have babies.
I do. I have children that rely on me, and I have a full-time job. And I have other obligations too, but that doesn't negate what you have to go through, and
I'm pretty copacetic.
I love that word, copacetic.
I know.
It's such a great word.
It's a 90s word. It's how you doing? Copacetic.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I have a correction. Well, it was like a follow-up. So I listened back to our episode for Boys Don't Cry, and in that episode, I was talking about sane nurses at the end with Brandon Tina, and I was like, in the episode I was talking about, like, I wasn't sure if like the nurse who was in the movie, that actress, like if she was representing the sane nurse that would have done his examination after the assault, and because I wasn't sure if sane nurses had been credentialed as a thing yet by the time that this happened. Yeah. And I was definitely off. So sane nurses became a thing in the 70s, like the late 70s. Oh. With the prevalence of like rape crisis centers and stuff. So yeah, so Nebraska would have been a sane nurse that did it. So yeah.
Okay.
Just confirming that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I don't know. I thought nurses specifically for that rape, like
the
collection and the evidence collection,
the forensic nurses, like we're like a newer thing. Is that what you're? Well,
only because it almost sounds like something compassionate. that you wouldn't
Right.
have gotten until more recently.
Well, yes, true, but the fact is, in the 70s they started it, so not a truly recent thing.
I can just imagine some nurse in the 70s looking at a woman and saying, "Is this what you were wearing?"
Yeah, I think there's been some evolution on that front with how women are, and men, anyone who is assaulted is, children, whatever, like how they're approached with doing
Well,
those
and
exams.
growing up in an evangelical church, I mean, yeah, there's rape. Rape exists, but not. They would say not as prevalently. At least when I was young,
Yeah.
because for them, the number one question was, what was she doing? And then where were they? What did she allow him to do? And then say
Yeah.
no. Even in school, because I went to the school connected to the church, in any class where, because we didn't have like sex ed,
Right.
we had health class.
Yeah.
You learn, and you might have a couple days of, this is your body. We're so sorry.
Right.
This is what's going to happen to you. And it was always, I remember getting lectured in that class about how, as women, we are the gatekeepers to men's sexual morality.
I can see it. I'm not even there. I can just see it.
Yeah, we're on the bleachers.
Yeah.
All the girls.
Fully picturing it now.
Yeah. And like the teacher called out one of the other girls. She said, "Well, I saw you talking to, I don't know, Matt, let's say. And your hand was very far up on his thigh when you were talking to him. And that can lead him to believe that you want to have sex." I'm like, what?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Yeah, because that makes logical sense that,
Well, I wonder about the kids in the school who maybe were being abused at home or had been abused. I mean, it could have been it could have been anyone, but you're being told it's your fault
Right.
from the beginning.
Yeah.
These people.
Yeah. I definitely think that's changing for the better, but
Yeah.
I mean,
I think we should start a podcast called
another one, Carrie?
another one, because we're keeping up so well with this one.
Yeah.
And that's it's called "Stupid Things I Heard in Church as a Child."
We'd have to have people submit.
We would. It would
Yeah.
be great.
Yeah. And it could be anonymous. You don't have to put your name to it.
No.
Okay, Carrie, you need to get that one together, and then
Okay.
we'll do it. But for this podcast,
Oh yeah, we're doing.
we have a movie to discuss.
Oh gosh.
This episode is all about I Never Promised You a Rose Garden.
Yep.
Ever since I finished this, I've been so excited to talk to you about it.
I know. I finished it and I was like, I want to call her. I want to call her. I want to talk
I
about
know
her
you
right
had
now.
you had to hold it in. Hold it in. Okay. So before we get into the details, just first impression. Brief. What's your first impression of this movie?
I was either having a stroke or extremely high when I watched it because I'm watching it
Yeah.
totally sober. I'm watching
Right.
it and I'm
But
like,
you're questioning your sobriety because of the movie?
yeah, or the possibility of a stroke.
Yeah.
Or an aneurysm. Because it seemed as though it started in the middle. Almost. Like there's no context.
Well, yeah, we don't get anything at the beginning.
Except for her
set it up.
parents, of course, dropping her off.
This is, I swear to God, this is the theme of all the like not all the movies we've watched, but how many of these movies have we watched? And we can really only say this about women's mental health, okay?
Right.
How many movies now have we watched? 3 for sure.
Yeah.
That a usually young female is being dropped off by parents or not by parents, but is being
By guardians,
sent
whatever.
to a mental health facility.
And the parents never really...
Yeah. Well, and in this movie, and the parents did want to see her, but I think the psychiatrist suspected they were not positive influences because she resisted them coming to visit.
Yeah. And I was
Deborah.
wondering...
Yeah.
I mean, she did that at first, right? Like she denied them access
Yes.
to her. I don't. I was wondering if it was because she's hallucinating, and in her world, like her parents are outsiders. They don't understand her. I could see it being very disconcerting to be like, those are my parents. I love them. They love me.
Right.
But they don't understand anything I'm saying. Any people I talk about, they don't get it.
Right.
I think that could, I mean, you tell me because you're the pro, but I'm guessing that would set up an adversarial relationship.
It can. I think.
Depending on how the parents react.
Yeah, I mean, I think it can. It depends on like how symptomatic somebody is, but there is usually some kind of conversation with family members or friends about what to expect with people. You want to be realistic with people about what to expect, and then to normalize some things so that it's not so shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because most of the time it's not a danger. We do see some danger in this movie. Did you realize it was rated R? Did you know that?
I saw that at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Yeah. And which the rating for me is a little bit confusing. I'm assuming, and these are
There's nudity.
There's some nudity. There's some sexual content. We don't see all of it. So trigger warnings, spoiler warnings. There is some nudity. Not a whole lot. But it was a little abrupt. I was like, oh my gosh, she's half naked now. So.
Well, and it wasn't. I was afraid it was about to become.
Right, but it didn't. It wasn't sexual.
But it didn't. It was just McPherson.
Yeah.
Dear Lord.
Yes.
I almost had a panic attack seeing them strapped down.
Yes.
On those beds. And was that like a plastic thing around them to make them sweat?
No. It was blankets to keep them. Yeah, we'll talk about that. I had some thoughts about that. You definitely, in this movie, you're going to see some very old school techniques of restraints in the hospital. Some of it is accurate. Again, I was not practicing back in the 70s, so I can't say how accurate all of it is, but I think some of it is exaggerated for dramatic effect. I will say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and as I've mentioned, I visited the Weston Asylum, Trans-Allegheny in Weston, West Virginia, which...
well, you would have probably seen some of those beds. Like, did they have any of that still in there?
Well, not only that, they had some pictures.
Oh, great.
Love that.
Nothing
horribly graphic, I think, just because of the time in which it was done. But, Weston in the 40s was the hub for lobotomies. Like, they did a lot of them.
Yeah.
And just water therapy where they would strip them down, put them in a cell that has a drain, and just
and hose
them down with cold water.
It's probably to shock the nervous system, but that's like terrorism interrogation tactics.
Yeah.
That's like what people did to terrorists,
like waterboarding and stuff like that.
Yeah, with the war on terror. Anyway, before you and I get into too much of the details of this movie, at least in terms of the plot, I think we need to set it up for our listeners. So, real quick. Oh, I didn't even give you my first impressions. I'll give you
Are you interviewing me for this?
No, I know. But listen.
Is this an intake?
No, but listen, I loved this movie. I'm going to give you my full review.
Go for it.
I said I was going to do first impressions, but I'm just going to go for it. I love this movie. I will watch it again. I am shocked I didn't know about this movie. It came out after One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And
yeah.
Well, and they did this movie. I was like Googling on the interwebs, and I found on the Wikipedia page for it that it was green-lighted to do this movie because of the success of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. But I never knew anything about this movie. Why doesn't anybody talk about I Never Promised You a Rose Garden? Why doesn't everyone ever talk about it?
I think it's one of those, because it's a book first.
Well, yeah, and so is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, though. A lot of these are books first.
Well, I guess I don't know how popular the book was. Like, King Kesey, right? King Kesey wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, so...
It might not have been a popular book, but...
And it was about women, and I'm not sure...
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead with your...
I just love this movie. So you know how at the end of the episode when we're done talking, we usually I'm just going to say it now. Well, we can wait for your review, Carrie, if you would like, but I'll just say I love this movie. I loved it. Even though it has some shortcomings, which we'll talk about, overall, I would watch this again because I think it's great.
I got hung up on weird stuff.
Okay, well, yeah, and then we'll talk about it. So to set it up, though, the plot, as Carrie's kind of indicated, we don't get a whole lot of explanation
or context or history.
No. Well, we get
it's almost like we're there in the middle of.
Yes.
We were not around for everything that led up.
Yes.
To her being institutionalized.
We get some context clues, you could say, with the sessions that Deborah, who's the main character, Deborah Blake, when she has sessions with her psychiatrist, who is Dr. Freed. I mean, their sessions, she kind of gets the history. But yeah, I mean, at the very beginning, all you get is Deborah's in the car with her parents. They are driving up, just like in Girl Interrupted, and it's very similar to the Bone. We see drive to a mental institution, and they drive up, and you can tell it's like a private one. It's in the countryside, like it's surrounded by things, and it's not attached to anything in particular.
Yeah, and it's based on the author in real life went to Chestnut Lodge in Rockville, Maryland.
Oh. Yeah, see, I need to do a little bit more background information on this, and I definitely want to read the book because I love this movie, so I have to read the book.
It's on my to be read.
Was it before we watched it, or?
Oh, yeah, it's been on my Amazon book list for like 2 or 3 years.
Okay, well.
I was looking for stuff to read.
I know. Well, maybe we should coordinate when we read it so that we can, like, in a future episode, like, before we talk about our movie, we can, like, talk just about the book really quick. Yeah. Yeah. Because I definitely want to read it. But, yeah, it's based off of a book, which the book is somewhat autobiographical, I think.
Right. It's a pseudonym.
Yeah.
But the woman whose story it is, she's the one who wrote it.
Right. But I think the psychosis that Deborah, the main character, goes through, that's her psychosis, right? Essentially, like it's her. Okay. Yeah. So what you come to realize, okay, you see Deborah, the main character, her parents are Mr. and Mrs. Blake. I don't remember their first names, and I guess I really don't care because it's not.
I'm not even sure they gave it.
I don't think they did. I think there's just Mr. and Mrs. Blake, but her parents are dropping her off, and you can see them kind of like arguing, chit-chatting, because they arrive there with Deborah, and then they're greeted by like the receptionist, and then they're like waiting around for the psychiatrist, and they like wanted to talk to her, blah blah blah.
And then they were taken off to a different building.
Well, and they left Deborah, and Deborah was taken up to the floor, to the unit. Yeah, but then almost immediately when her parents, because you're kind of wondering, why is this girl being dropped off at a mental institution? You know, like what's happening? Because she just, she's dressed nice, and she's not talking.
But then we see it.
We see it and we hear it. So it gets creepy real quick. 5 minutes in, it's already creepy.
She has slit her wrist.
But you don't see that until she goes to press the elevator button. Yeah,
that's right.
Because she's kind of hiding, into herself. She's kind of guarding. That's a medical term, by the way. BT dubs, guarding.
What does it mean?
Well, it means like when you're kind of like...
I'm like, don't leave me hanging, sister.
We say guarding when they're guarding their body in a way to, like, hiding. And it's usually can be from pain or it can be a psychological, they're guarding because they're afraid or whatever. But yeah. So when you're describing somebody, if you describe them as guarded, it means that they're like closed in on themselves. And that's what Deborah's doing. And then you see that she's slit her wrists because they're wrapped. Very similar to our girl Susanna in Girl Interrupted. You see her wrapped wrists. Yep. And then we hear, so basically we're not even 5 minutes in. 5 minutes in the movie, we start to get a picture of what Deborah's hallucinations are. Yeah.
And apparently it's Kaniki from Grease. Yep.
I did not realize, well, because he's in different makeup. So
I'm watching and I'm like, oh, that's Jeff Conway.
I know. He seemed familiar, but I was just like, I don't know. Also,
I may have yelled very loudly at the television, Kaneki!
Fun fact, this is at the very end, but did you recognize Dennis Quaid at the very end of the movie?
Yes.
I was like, what? Dennis Quaid? Like young Dennis Quaid.
Oh, and
before he was a raging conservative. He might have always been, who knows, but he was very young.
I just think you get to a certain tax bracket and that's what happens. You become an asshole.
Yeah.
But
we will never reach that tax bracket.
We are destined to never be like that.
No. Mm-mm.
But also, Ron Howard's brother, Clint Howard, was on that baseball team at the end.
Oh, is he the
was
guy?
The catcher.
Yes. He's related to Ron Howard?
That's his brother.
Because I'd seen him in other things. I had no idea.
Mm-hmm. Well, the whole family, the mom and dad acted.
Of course.
And were very...
That's that nepotism in Hollywood.
They were very, very respected and popular. And, they were in a few of his movies, like when they got older.
Yeah.
I think Apollo 13, they make a really good...
Like cameo kind of?
Cameo in it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So... What we see then, Deborah's dropped off, and she's essentially admitted to this ward. And it's a female ward. There's only women. But let me tell you, it is full chaos in there.
It's a real shit show.
I loved it, though. I swear to God, I loved the whole thing. So I'll tell you the reasons why I loved it. So you get you see all kinds of different people. Okay, so unlike Girl Interrupted, where we saw different mental health disorders portrayed, and we also then kind of learn their diagnoses. We don't really know what anyone is diagnosed, any of these women, but I definitely tell you, I saw some mania in there. There's definitely some bipolar folks. There's definitely some psychotic people in there. There was someone in catatonia, I think. Did you?
Yeah.
The one woman who was kind of like stiff.
And
she would hold poses. Yeah. Mm-hmm. She broke out of her catatonia, though, to give a blessing to Deborah, like, toward the end of the movie.
Well,
she gave the sign of the cross. I was like, oh, she's Catholic. But she was catatonic. She was catatonic, and then Deborah's, like, having a moment, and then she, like, bends down and, like, gives her the sign of the cross. I was like, oh, okay. But there's all kinds of stuff in there. And then her roommate, again, this is kind of another thing, and I mean, Girl Interrupted was someone else's life story, and this is someone else's, a separate person's life story,
right.
But there's also another theme of Deborah's roommate, her initial roommate when she gets there, who's Carla. I mean, she's fine, but she's, like, the most sane of all of them.
Yeah.
And then she also gets out in the movie, like, part of the movie is she, like, is discharged, and I was like, it's just like Girl Interrupted.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I mean, they're two separate movies.
I'm just sitting here thinking about the movie when you're like bringing up scenes.
I know. I love this movie.
So
what did you get hung up on?
It's gonna be stupid.
No, tell me. I want to hear it. I don't care.
In the description, when they describe the movie, and they say it's fantasy,
I know they should not do that.
And I was like, so I looked up A Beautiful Mind.
Yeah.
And its descriptors, and it was a thriller, and it might have said psychological.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I get that to us it seems like fantasy, but to her it's real. And I know it's the time, and I don't understand. Why can't they go back and change that?
So listen, this is that's a total misnomer. They should. Not anything that is on the websites today, like that is just giving information about this movie, should not say fantasy. This is not a fantasy movie. A fantasy movie is The Never-Ending Story, which another great movie. That is a fantasy movie.
I watch that movie now as an almost 50-year-old woman.
Yeah.
I've watched it since like elementary school. I cry.
How can you not?
I mean, even just seeing it pop up on the screen, like I can be in the middle of bring it up in the middle of the movie, and I'm like,
I know. I tried watching it with my kids a couple years ago. It didn't go well, but I'm going to try again.
Is it because you cried and they were like, Mommy, what's wrong?
They wouldn't pay attention, and then they're like, I don't want to watch this movie. And I'm like, what? Children!
Weren't they like...
They were young. They would have been like 3 and 2. 4 and 3. Yeah, but I was watching it that young.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. I'm going to try it again. They like Harry Potter now. They didn't like Harry Potter we watched the first movie of Harry Potter. Harry Potter's a fantasy movie. Lord of the Rings is a fantasy movie. This movie, I Never Promised You a Rose Garden, not a fantasy. No, it is a psychological drama. It's a drama. Yeah. It's not a comedy for sure. No one should get that kind of... Although there's some funny lines in here.
There are, and there always are.
Oh my God, I wrote them all down. Yeah, honestly, people with mental health issues, best lines ever. This movie, so it came out in 1977. It was nominated Oscars for Best Screenplay, Original Screenplay. Which I don't know why they would... It was original screenplay, but it's based off of a book. So...
Is it not... Wouldn't it be the Best Adapted Screenplay?
I'm pretty sure... I don't know. Maybe you need to correct me.
Well, I'm going to look at it.
You need to correct me. It could be adapted screenplay, but I thought it was original screenplay, which confused me because I knew it was based off of a book. But it didn't win the Oscar, but it was nominated for that, which I can tell why. I loved it.
You are...
No, I really like this movie. It's great. Because
I like it.
I know.
You're just like, it's the best thing ever.
I know. No, well, because I was just so surprised by how much I did like it. And the fact that I've never heard anything about this movie and I've never seen it before. Like, I mean, I'm going to be real honest. I have not rewatched because we haven't picked it yet, One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest. But right now, and I could correct myself later, right now I like this movie better than One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest. And One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest, I mean, these just came out within a couple of years of each other. That one gets all the accolades, and this one doesn't.
I wonder if it's because came out so closely together.
I just think it's well, I think, okay, so this is what I think. I think two things. One, I think your comments about maybe it being about female mental health and their stories, these characters, maybe makes a difference. It is primarily all male in One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest. The second thing is, I do think that One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest was directed and shot better. So I have some critiques about the looks of this movie. So
it looks very TV movie.
It looks very TV movie. It looks very, like, the production quality is low. I would say.
The editing is weird too.
The editing's not, it's interesting. But I think it's just like, I don't know. The other thing too is, and I'm spoiled because we live in retrospect after this movie has been made, but like the quality of films that are filmed today, even if the plot and the acting is low quality, the technology that we have with making movies is just better now.
Yeah.
And so it just looks like if that movie was shot now, I think that they could probably make it look so much cooler than it was. But the acting is great. I think the acting is awesome in this movie.
Oh, Kathleen Quinlan's fantastic.
No, but I'm also talking about all the other women.
Well,
which I don't know all of their names.
My favorite was, and I have her pulled up.
Which character? What's
the character who played Lee.
She was the best, man.
I loved her, and
she was so funny.
I've seen her in things like weird little quirky roles.
Yeah.
The actress's name was Susan Tyrrell.
Yeah, but that name doesn't sound familiar to me.
And she worked with Andy Warhol.
Oh, okay.
And that crew.
Yep.
But also, because I read up about her life, it says, this is exactly what it says. This is on IMDb.
Yeah.
Deep.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
IMDb.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So she died in 2012 from essential thrombocytosis.
Oh, yeah.
Her nickname, because her full name was Susan Jillian Creamer, and so her nickname was Susu. She built up her resume in summer stock. She was always cast as a seamy, salty-tongued, highly dysfunctional character.
Absolutely, 100%.
And she was a hit on Broadway, and she earned an Academy Award nomination in 1972 for John Huston's film Fat City.
Okay, that would have been before this movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she was in Cry Baby.
Oh.
She was in, and this is probably why I know her. That's a John Waters film.
Yeah.
Big Top Pee-wee.
Uh-huh.
Which, not to be weird, but I love that movie.
I don't judge anyone by their movie choices.
Well, you should.
Yeah. Yeah,
But anyway, she is known, and they said in this movie she was brilliant. It's just, one of the reviews was, too bad this movie wasn't shot better.
Yeah. So her character, Lee, she's the one I think is bipolar because you don't really see any depressive symptoms, but she's manic all the time in this movie, where she'll be like real normal and then she'll like start dancing, start singing, but like she'll do impulsive things like to stir the pot almost, like I don't know. She says that she's a psychotic. So
wait, Lee,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when she meets Deborah at the very beginning and she's kind of getting introduced to some of the other women who are there.
Yeah.
She says that she's a psychotic, and she's like, welcome, and
that she used to work there.
Yeah, she says she used to be a nurse there,
and
that's definitely her psychosis. That's her. Well, that could also be grandiosity too. Like if she's currently manic, she's like thinking that she's somebody else, you know.
So you don't think she was actually a nurse there?
No, I don't think she was.
Because I
I
thought she was, just because of the relationship that she had and how she talked to Hobbs, that they had known each other when she worked there.
Listen, that adds some complexity to the story that I was not prepared for, but it could be. It would be.
It's funny, the things, because we do that quite a bit. Like, you'll think, oh no, that's not literal.
No, that's because, so I forget which movie, it could have been a TV episode, but there was a character who was pretending to be a doctor who thought, maybe it was an episode of ER, but it was a psychotic person that came in. I could be making...
Okay.
Yeah, and it was like pretending to be a doctor and thought that they were a doctor. And that's what I got from Lee's character when she said that she used to work there as a nurse, that she was psychotic and thinking that she used to be. However, if we take her word, because again, she's the least of the complicated and problematic characters. Her and Coral at the end. Coral's not that problematic either, but...
I really thought of all of the women.
Yeah.
I would really enjoy Lee.
Mm-hmm. She would be fun.
Like, I think...
Coral would be fun, too.
Yeah.
She's the older lady at the end that we meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, she would be fun. The geometry teacher. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And once again...
What?
So, when you said, this is a women's ward, it's all women, and I'm like, except...
For the orderlies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but McPherson's fine.
McPherson treats... I have notes.
He's the older one. So there's two main orderlies that we see. So there's a lot of extras in this movie that are like nurses and other staff. But the two main orderlies that interact with the women on the unit that we see are McPherson, who's the older one. He's a little bit more stocky. He's a little bit bigger of a guy. And then Hobbs is a taller... Younger, problematic person.
Yeah. And... I wrote down, McPherson remembers that patients are human beings.
Yeah, because that's what Deborah says. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's why she says she likes him.
And my notes on Hobbs. First note, Hobbs is a right shit.
Yeah.
Because I went all British, I was so upset.
Oh, yeah. But you don't see that at first. Like, the first few instances in the movie that you see him, because he walks into the day room where all the women are, and he's, like, being nice, and he, like, tells one of the women about how to win the checkerboard. And then the other... character, one of the women who is psychotic, she's an older woman and she's a little bit bigger, but she's like kind of messing with him and flirting with him. She touches him inappropriately.
Yeah.
Well, then we come to find out later he's touching women inappropriately. He touches Deborah inappropriately.
Everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
And the sheer amount of panic I felt.
Yeah.
When they are strapped to those beds.
Oh, yes.
And he comes in and all I can think is, because the other women seem to be really out of it.
Oh, Helene,
in the bed.
The older one? Yeah. The one who attacks Deborah?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
All I could think was, oh, my God. Yeah. He can do whatever he wants to her.
Well, and Carrie's saying that because Helene... So, when someone is restrained... And again, this is just... the movie depicts it as one way. But when someone is in restraints on a... unit, whether it's a medical unit or a psychiatric unit, you have to check them. You have to try and get vital signs, check them and make sure they're okay, because people have died in restraints. Okay,
right?
Like in psychiatric hospitals,
no doubt,
like jails, people have died. Okay, so you're supposed to be checking them. Now Hobbs comes in and he says he has to check their pulse, but he's like just checking her temperature. He's like feeling like her head, whatever.
But then doesn't he feel the neck?
Well, I think he tries to, but then Helene spits in his face. And so what does he do in response, Carrie? He slaps her 3 times.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, yeah, okay. So no wonder people think that there is abuse. And again, I'm not saying that there isn't, but like this is showing the potential for abuse in psychiatric hospitals, which really gives it a lot of negative stigma, which I want people to understand as someone who works in mental health, like that is not what typically happens. Like this is...
See, to me, this is state hospital type of shit. But it's a private...
Of the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is, you're right, it's private.
But it's a private facility.
Where people stay for years, so...
Yeah, like they live there. That's just their home.
Well, it's like how it was at... Girl Interrupted, it was how it was at McLean. Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, so Hobbs is very... there's other things that he does, like he's verbally abusive to the women, and it's usually again, it doesn't usually start off that way. It's usually he gets frustrated, and we learn from McPherson, who's the other orderly, and then also Dr. Freed, they make comments about, like, Hobbs having his own problems, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he gets frustrated with the women when they don't do what he says, and so what he does is he's verbally abusive, or he'll grab them inappropriately, or he was punching Coral, who was she's an older woman who they talk about in the movie as being released.
She had gotten out to go teach geometry.
Yes. Well, and then she's been there coming and going. So, like, maybe, she could be someone who has bipolar disorder where she has these episodes
I think she did. Yeah. Didn't they say she did?
Yeah, because she didn't come off as very psychotic to me,
No, and the way... And she obviously has a history with Hobbs.
Yeah, because he beats her up.
Yeah, and...
Also, she took that bed apart.
Yeah.
So Coral comes in.
I would just like to say when she came out and she's like, which one of you idiots didn't lock the door?
Didn't lock the door and didn't put her in restraints.
Yeah.
Because they thought they medicated her and thought she was just going to go sleep. So in that scene, Coral comes back to the hospital. This was in the second half of the movie. After the other women have talked about how she's the success story because she got out and things like that. She does return, as they all do. And that's a joke. Not everybody returns to the psych hospital, but it's just, she does come back, and they think that she's going to be, like, agreeable to treatment. There's, like, doctors, orderlies in there. They put her in the bed. They give her some kind of an injection, and they think that she's just going to go to sleep, so they don't restrain her. And like Carrie said, they also don't lock the door. So what does Coral do? Somehow, in her, like, 70-year-old body, because she looks like she's in her 70s, she breaks down this entire bed and throws the mattress out the door. Like, superwoman strength, I must say.
I mean, it's impressive.
It is impressive.
And that's what got Hobbs fired.
Yes, because Deborah
got McPherson?
Yeah, she went and got him, but she goes into the room. So again, this is a separate incident, but Coral is again restrained in a bed. She's restrained because probably she was acting up. And Deborah's going in there to talk to her, and Hobbs is getting her out of the restraints. He's like taking the straps off.
She wanted to learn geometry.
Right. And then Coral says something to Hobbs that's like, it's antagonistic or something. So she says something. And so then when she gets out of the bed, he starts punching her in the stomach. And Deborah witnesses it. And so she's all worked up and she's anxious and she's upset. And so she has to go down she's trying to find somebody to help her, but she can't speak. She's like trying to talk and like she can't say anything.
Like she's so upset.
Yeah, she's so upset she can't say anything.
Out.
Yeah. So she grabs McPherson and then he goes in there and kind of stops it. But yeah, I mean, one of the orderlies beats up on one of the women in this movie.
Which leads to him being fired.
Yes.
And then the next day, and I'm gonna read my notes.
Okay, yep.
Hobbs went out in the manner of our Sylvia.
Yeah.
That man stuck his head in an oven.
Yeah, so the character So
yes, he did have mental health issues.
Yeah, because he commits
probably
suicide.
Should have been a patient.
Probably.
Honestly.
Yep.
In the men's ward.
Which maybe leads to the fact that maybe Lee was an employee.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hobbs commits suicide. We don't see it, luckily.
Yeah. However, the reaction, like Deborah and it was so upsetting. Right. Even though they hated him. However, the woman, the chunky woman that...
I don't remember her name.
I don't either.
The one with the long gray hair, right? It's always frizzy. Yeah.
And who had flirted... They touched... Whatever. She said
he was a rapist.
When
he was leaving, you're talking about?
Hobbs was leaving.
Yeah.
She says, Hobbs is my rapist. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, probably.
Yeah, honestly, probably.
And I didn't understand. Well, Dr. Freed said she had no control over who stayed or went, because Deborah did go to her.
Yes, during one of her sessions.
And said, please, can't you do something? And the doctor it was pretty much, I'm a woman, the men are in charge.
Yeah.
I'll say something, but it doesn't matter.
It was somewhat of a cop-out. I mean.
It was such a cop-out. And for a woman to say that to another woman who you know is in this extremely vulnerable, volatile situation with this man.
Yeah.
I was mad. That made me mad.
Yeah. You and I have talked a lot about like the other characters in this movie so far, but we haven't really talked about Deborah too much. So
Do you know she might be the least interesting character?
potentially compared to all the other ones, because I also thought we got to talk about Deborah here in a minute, but I thought Helene's character was also interesting. So Helene is an older woman. She's got to be in her like, I don't know, 60s, 70s. She's older, definitely. And she used to be, we come to learn from her conversations with Deborah and other patients that she used to be an actress. She shows Deborah a picture of her acting as Joan of Arc. And that's before she attacks Deborah.
And like Deborah was not being mean.
No.
Deborah was like interested.
Yes. Deborah, I felt bad for her this whole movie.
Yeah, and I guess the way it was shot.
Yeah.
And kind of the idea that we don't quite know Deborah's story, just that this is where she is right now in her life.
Right.
It adds to this weird off-kilter feeling for the audience, which I think mirrors what Deborah is feeling.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what, like, I just looked at her, I'm like, oh, girl. And it's
she goes through it. Yeah.
She really does. And a second suicide attempt while she's there.
Oh, yeah. And you see it. You see her do it. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and some self-harm because she burns herself too, which that wasn't, I'm going to say, I don't think that was, the burning wasn't super accurate. It had to have been, that had to be makeup. Because there's no bleeding. When she burns her skin with a cigarette, there was just ash on her arm. If you're burning, there would have been blood. If she was burning.
We need to write a strongly worded letter to the producers of this movie.
Yeah, please make burning yourself more accurate. That was just my notes, and I was like, but my notes were, I put in my notes that are scattered all around us as we're talking, that it couldn't have been her real arm. I mean, I know they wouldn't have done that anyway, movie production, but it had to have been some barrier because there was no blood. So next time, whenever somebody wants to redo this movie, think through bleeding from burn. There's going to be some blood on that skin, okay? But we see all the blood when she cuts herself with the metal box that her roommate had stashed some cigarettes in. And for the record, I also thought that when her roommate asked her if she smoked, I thought that she was going to be talking about marijuana there for a second. Because, well, the reason being... We see, okay, that's early on when Deborah meets her roommate Carla, and she's in the room, and they're kind of introducing each other, just kind of like Girl Interrupted. Very similar situation. But Carla shows, and is trying to get Deborah to ask her if she wants to smoke. But I thought she was going to refer to marijuana because a lot of people that experience psychosis will use marijuana as self-medicating because it can get hallucinations to go away.
I didn't know that.
I mean... But it's usually a temporary fix because also THC makes things worse, and it's an hallucinogen, so it can make your hallucinations stronger. So my first thoughts were, I was like, oh, they're just gonna roll a joint in the.
I mean, why not? It's the 70s.
Yeah, why not?
Today they would just shoot you up with ketamine and call it a day.
And I think when we're discussing this movie, we're doing this a little bit different than we discuss the other movies because, you know, sometimes we'll go scene by scene or, like, go through the plot, but so much happens in this movie, like, it would be impossible.
And it was not long.
No, it was only an hour and, like, 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was 93 minutes.
But there's so much going on with Deborah and all the other women on this ward that you and I could not go through the plot.
Mm-mm.
But basically, Deborah's there for 2 years, so we see different things of her experience there for the 2 years she's there, and eventually she does get out. She is discharged to outpatient like her former roommate Carla, and that's the end of the movie as we see that. But
however, she and Carla, I think
they became friendly.
The girl she met out.
That was her roommate, Carla.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But they talked about getting a place of being roommates.
Yeah.
And that was such a hopeful scene for me because she has connection with another person.
Yes.
Someone who understands where she's been and what she's gone through.
She seemed definitely healthier at the end.
Much healthier. And
right.
The idea, you could tell she was excited that Carla said, well, we should, and she's like, really? You know, you want to.
Yeah.
And it was just hopeful in that, okay, I feel like she sees a life.
Right.
Outside of that.
I think it was interesting. I was having some gripes toward the end of the movie because I thought what we see is Deborah getting better. We see her getting, that's kind of the indication of how she's how she's being, that's kind of the indication of like the scenes we see at the end and how she's acting toward the other women on the floor and like in her session with Dr. Freed. But then when we see her on the outside, when she's been discharged and she's kind of like on the outpatient side, we don't see her as symptomatic as she was in the hospital. So my thought was, are the screenwriter for this movie, the director, the producers, are they trying to convey a message of like, well, she spent there 2 years and now she's cured? Like, because she had that breakthrough when Dr. Freed, her breakthrough came at the end when Dr. Freed told her that she can choose essentially to be happy, which is, again, we've gotten this message at a lot of these movies of.
I hate it.
Like you can choose.
You just need to decide that you're going to be happy and not be affected.
Right.
Good luck with that.
Right. I think
that made me mad.
No. Well, it is. The thing is, like, you can have that conversation with people maybe about individual things that are happening. Because I just had this conversation with somebody the other day about something that kind of came up with them and how upset it made them. And I kind of told them, I think you're giving a lot more importance to this thing than maybe it needs to because it's affecting you, and you can have that conversation. But Dr. Freed basically said that about Deborah's whole life. Like, you can, choose like to live life and to get stuff out of it, because Deborah was talking to her, as she does in multiple of these sessions, about like what's the point of living, when with the hallucination she has and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so my thoughts were like, they're trying to portray her at the end, Deborah, as being cured. Like there was some kind of a cure, right? Because she gets this breakthrough where she is in touch with reality again and she's fixed, right? But but she doesn't, because at the very end we hear some of those voices that he hears.
Yeah.
And I was like, nope, girl still got it.
I took it. See, when this is how I took that.
Yeah.
Scene,
okay.
Was the voices are still there.
Right.
But she has control now.
Right. And that's great. And that's in mental health. That's what we want for people, especially people who have psychosis.
Like it was like she was able. It's like, yeah, they're there, but I'm going to ignore them and just go on with my friend.
Which was great. That's why I loved. That's why I love this movie, because I was going to go down that place where I was going to get mad and be like, this is an inaccurate representation. Psychosis that Deborah had, how prolific it was and how pervasive it was, that doesn't just go away. Like it doesn't. My one thought was like, what meds is she on now? Because they're like basically gone. So she was probably on some good meds at the end, but.
Yeah, but.
Carrie.
Well, no, I'm trying to figure out. It's hard when you're trying to figure out the timeline of a book,
right,
and then a movie made years later,
right?
Because the book came out in 1964,
right? It was like a decade earlier.
So this is the 50s. I mean, what that she would have been. So,
that's right. You're right, because the setting is in the 50s, isn't it?
So what meds besides? I mean. Would they have had Thorazine?
Probably. I'd have to Google when that came to market.
Or Haldol?
Haldol, and it could have been Haldol and Thorazine, potentially.
I know someone who freaked out at the hospital and got... This was just a few years ago. And they shot their butt full of Haldol and put them in a rubber room.
We still do that. Because Haldol is very effective. But... Yeah, I mean, the first antipsychotics came out in the 50s. I want to say it could have been, it's either 1951 or 1954 that they came to market, those first generation antipsychotics, which Haldol and Thorazine are in that group. So it could have been one of those. Those are some heavy duty antipsychotics, but yeah. But because before that, so this is just a little history of mental health real quick. There's so much you could talk about. I'm going to get into details. Before antipsychotics, the treatment for schizophrenia was to isolate people from the rest of the community. They were put in private homes. They were put in institutions, insane asylums. That's where we get this from. They were in there, and they were given electroshock therapy, or they were given lobotomies, and there was other experimental things that they were doing, like some weird things. We could do a podcast episode of all the kinds of weird mental health treatments that were behind, back in the day. But that's what they did before medication. Then we had antipsychotics that came out, and it was, people were able to be treated in the community. Finally. So, yeah.
And I feel like when you get to the 1980s and Ronald Reagan, and they shut down those facilities. I think was the was the thinking we now have medication, so they can go out in the community and they don't need to live their whole life here. What was the thinking, or was it just money related?
I think it was money related. I'll be the cynic
I
in me
hate
is
people.
that the thing is, a lot of that was state funded. A lot of those people obviously didn't work, and so they were on some kind of like
Assistance.
If it was like maybe the beginnings of the disabilities that we know now, so they would have been on that. And when you're in a facility that has to have 24-hour care, that's expensive. And that's why nursing homes are expensive, and that's why, as I'm just bringing this to modern day, that's why the U.S. government currently wants to defund Medicaid, because Medicaid is used in nursing homes to care for elderly people, and it gets expensive. Now, on the flip side of that, okay, this is a totally different story than our movie, but, you know, there's arguments to say that there are nursing homes that probably tried to gouge the government by overcharging things. I'm not saying that that probably isn't happening. But when you have 24-hour nursing care and nurse aid care, that, I mean, you're paying that somebody's salary like around the clock. So that can get expensive. But I've heard stories of people putting family members in nursing homes and like the thousands and thousands of dollars that can be, even with sometimes Medicaid paying part of it. So it's, you know, that is an area that needs to be revamped and reorganized, and but defunding Medicaid is not the way to go.
No.
That's just my aside.
And you know, I'm with my grandparents, when they passed, we dealt with Medicaid. My paternal grandmother, she was in assisted living on hospice for 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, like, my grandfather, who died in 95, had set it up and had worked so hard to make sure my grandmother was taken care of forever. He, you know, my grandfather worked at General Motors. It's not like
Right. It's not like
super wealthy. He was just a very good saver and investor. And you get to the end of your life, and Medicaid, you're like, well, the facility, because while she has money, she doesn't have enough to just go into private.
Right.
So the government requires you sell everything, you give any money that is in that account to the government.
Right.
So that these people who've worked their whole lives have nothing. And they are totally reliant on the government to get into a nursing home. So when you take that away, you are going to have more people not being able to go to facilities when, like to a nursing home, when they need that specialized care. Because we, you know, my dad and I have just like end of life stuff. And it's like, well, good luck, sister, because...
Yeah. I mean, when my grandmother, toward the last year of her life, when she got pretty unwell and was like very weak, and my grandmother, she was a very strong woman and was very healthy the majority of her life. It was only the last couple of years of her life that things like went down.
That's nice, though.
I know, that's that good genetics, and the fact that she didn't smoke or didn't drink, and she took care of herself, but...
That's why the rest of us are screwed.
Absolutely. But my family, and that was through all of my aunts and uncles and my father, were able to afford a person that would stay with her, you know, most of the day. They had private pay for a home health aide. Like, she didn't really need a nurse, because my aunt would come and do her meds and things like that. So she just needed somebody to be with her there, because she was falling down a lot and getting injured. And then toward the end, her memory was going. The last like 6 months of her life, her memory was kind of shot. And so she needed somebody there around the clock. And so my family was able to afford that.
Right.
And she stayed in her home until she died. She died in her home, so.
How nice.
Yeah.
And it's nice, I mean, you Catholics, you got it going on. Because you have a big family.
I mean, why do you think they had so many children, Carrie?
To take care of them in their dotage.
Yep.
And
split the costs.
Yep. But how great is that your family could do that for your matriarch?
Yes. I mean,
and honor her in that way.
They didn't even consider putting her in a nursing home. They basically were like, how are we going to afford this? And so they looked around and they contacted an agency, and so they didn't even use insurance. Like, I don't think she had to do anything with Medicaid. They did whatever they could through insurance, and then we just paid extra.
Yeah, I would say that if she wasn't on any Medicaid, because they would have
Yeah, well, they would have taken her house and
And
stuff.
with Medicaid, which I don't think people understand,
Yeah.
is that when you go into that nursing home,
Yeah.
the government looks back through
Uh-huh.
bank records and everything.
You mean like if you're hiding money?
If you have given any monetary gifts
Yeah.
over, like, is it $5,000? Or, no, if you've given any large monetary gifts, like, let's say your kids or
Yeah.
you helped, the government wants that money back. So they're going to come to who you gave it to or to that person and say, yeah, but you gave it to them. They could be doing anything with it.
Right. So, and this is what I'm saying is like the system is not set up well.
No.
It can be reorganized, but the way things are going now.
But if you take it away,
yeah.
I don't think everyday people, like people who maybe tend to vote that way,
Right.
it's always like, well, as long as you're doing this to other people and not me, I don't care. And the problem is, it will eventually get to you.
Right.
And good luck. Like, kid with special needs who needs the care of a specialized doctor.
Right.
Good luck. You need medication for that. Good luck.
Right. I wanted to get your thoughts on a couple things in the movie.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Okay.
So one of the things I wanted to get your thoughts on were when in one of the sessions that she was with Dr. Freed, who, again, she's probably my favorite psychiatrist so far that we've had. In all the movies we've watched,
Yeah.
I think she's my favorite. Because I think she's the most down to earth. But Dr. Freed, this is the nice thing I liked. She did some reality checking with Deborah. Mm-hmm. So Deborah was telling her the story about how she maybe tried to kill her baby sister when she was 6, and she was going to throw her out the window, like because they were talking about the beginning of her illness and her. They were talking about the beginning of her illness, but Dr. Freed told her that couldn't have happened because she would have had to get young child, get into the crib, pull up her sister, and then throw her out the window. And then Deborah realized it probably was like a hallucination or like it's a delusion she was having because her sister was still alive and it probably never happened. So like she imagined it. So I liked that scene.
Did she imagine it or did she hallucinate? She was like, what, 6?
Yeah, so Deborah says that it happened when she was 6. She's telling Dr. Freed, I tried to kill my sister when I was 6.
Would psychosis and schizophrenia show up that early?
It can. It's very rare. God, so it usually starts
terrifying.
I know. It usually starts to show up in like the teenage years early on. So Deborah, also, we don't know what her age is in this movie, but she's got to be late teens, early 20s.
Yeah, I was guessing like 19 or 20.
Right, yeah, she's a young woman, that's around the age that people develop schizophrenia symptoms. And again, like you said before, we don't have a lot of backstory, so we don't know how long this is going on, except for...
We don't know if there's abuse in the home. We do
know that there's abuse in the home. Do you remember one of the sessions that Deborah was talking, this was in the same, I think, it might have been the same session as her admitting about the possibly trying to kill her sister, but Deborah says to Dr. Freed that she was like pretty much like a piece of shit. She's basically saying that that's what she thinks about herself because she should have listened to her father. I'm assuming because Deborah's probably had sex with men because her father was going on about sex fiends and her needing to be careful and things like that. And Dr. Freed
she made the comment he might have been attracted.
Yes, he might have had feelings for her that were inappropriate, and that's why he was
trying to protect her son.
Well, that's why he made a big deal about her,
virginity.
Yes. So I think there was some suggestion that maybe her father was not totally appropriate with her. Like we don't know if there's any abuse. Like Deborah never admitted to that, but she definitely thinks that her parents hated her.
Which is weird because all they wanted to do was see her.
Right. Yeah, but the dad also, Dr. Freed called him out on his BS. So at one of the scenes when the parents come to visit and they're trying to talk to Dr. Freed about how she's doing and when to expect her getting out, he also asked Dr. Freed if she's ever going to be able to live a normal life. The dad is, and I think that's a legitimate question, but I also think that's a heavy question with a lot of connotation.
Like, what is a normal life?
Yeah, what are you expecting of her?
What is your definition that you think...
Yeah.
Which to him, the dad, it was probably, well, she's got to get married and have those kids.
Yeah. Or at least work at the very least, or go to school, go to college, whatever. But Dr. Freed in that meeting, the dad's insisting on seeing her because they hadn't seen her and they had Christmas gifts for her. I think that was that first Christmas. And Dr. Freed's like, well, if you're insisting on seeing her, I'll call her. And because Dr. Freed had said, I don't know what condition she's going to be in. She's had some bad days lately. I don't know if this is a good time to see her.
But if you absolutely want me
Right.
to get her down here. And it wasn't it the mom who said, no, that's okay.
No, the dad said.
Oh.
He said, no, that's okay. Like he totally, and she put the phone down.
It's possible that I was actually having a stroke while watching the movie. Because I do remember that.
Yeah.
It's funny the things you catch and the things I catch. And then...
Well, there's just so much in this movie.
This movie is...
Because the other thing is, remember when Dr. Freed goes, this is toward in the end of the movie where she goes on a vacation. She goes to Italy for a month.
5 weeks.
Yep. And then...
For those with abandonment issues...
Well, yeah, Deborah...
Jesus.
Well, so, I mean, I think, yeah, so I don't know. Not that she gets diagnosed with it. I think the only diagnosis we know for Deborah is schizophrenia. And Deborah says that about herself at some point in the movie. She knows what she's diagnosed with. But I wonder if she's insinuating maybe any borderline because she talks about the abandonment a couple times. And Deborah loses her shit when Dr. Freed is gone and she has to talk to the other psychiatrist.
Yeah, but the other psychiatrist was an ass.
Yeah, well, yeah, they had different approaches and it wasn't... He was way too...
He didn't care about her. He cared about...
her psychosis and the language.
And he wanted, like, details on the language. And I'm thinking, are you a linguist? Are you going to write an article? Are you going to write a book and make a career off of it? Leave her alone. Right.
Well, and the language that Carrie's referring to is... We haven't really talked about her psychosis, but her psychosis in this movie for Deborah is she... And that's kind of why the movie gets a fantasy kind of connection there. But she has this psychosis that... And this delusion that there is a land out there called Erie, and there is they're like what we see as kind of like tribal people, like they're they're definitely culturally appropriating some Native
Americans. Well, the one psychiatrist asked about, he said, I think it's native. It sounds tribal and Native American.
Right.
But to me, it looked like a mixture of tribal and futuristic.
Yes. Yeah, because, it gave me some feeling of, like, the movie Dune. Yeah. Like, that's a good book, too. I haven't finished that book. But, so she's got this psychosis that she can talk to the people, and there's, like, a leader. And he's also, this is why I love this movie, because it's so accurate when it's depicting schizophrenia, because part of the psychosis is she hears these voices, and she hears this male leader who she has, like, sex with in one of her episodes or whatever. Like, so maybe I don't know what her relation is to him, but he's telling her not to say anything because he'll kill her. Like, yeah, so he
really fed into any of her fears about you don't tell people about us, right? Because,
and she didn't. Well, she talked to Dr. Freed about it, but she didn't. I mean, and she really didn't talk about that other psychiatrist about it.
To me, it's like I've heard that before. Like the voices will say,
"Well, they do. People,
not to say anything."
Well, yeah, and don't tell people. I mean, I've had people tell me about that. I've had people tell me their voices tell them they're not to speak to other people about their voices, and if they do anything, they will kill them or hurt other people. That's a consistent thing.
It almost makes it seem like the hallucinations are cognizant of their place in the world. Yeah. And that they know if she tells, that might break that.
Well, because
hallucination, they will go away if she gets better.
Right. Well, and that's...
But...
Because, well, you're onto something, Carrie, because that's what I tell people, and this is the reality checking, is like, with these hallucinations, being aware of things that you experience, it just tells you that they're a part of you. They're not something separate that's going to hurt you. They are part of your brain, part of, like, a misfire, basically, of brain chemistry and neurons and things like that.
I just think, like, I don't know, maybe I'm weird, or maybe it's because I write.
No, this is what I want to know, because this is...
I think, like, when I hear that, I think, oh my God, they don't want to be destroyed. They don't want to be, like, killed by a psychiatrist and medication. And that, I don't know why I find that fascinating, that those voices are trying to live. By telling the person they talk to. No. It just seems such a well thought out, like the voices are very well aware that they have to. Yeah. I may be driving myself insane.
No,
right
this
now,
is great. I love this. This is what I live for, Carrie, right now.
So it's like, okay, so the voices don't want to go away. Mm-hmm. They are attached to this person. Mm-hmm. And then you think about, at some points, I think, oh, they don't want to go away.
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for them.
I know.
But I just think it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
They're real to this person.
Yeah.
They're, like you said, they're attached to this person, yet the voices operate like by their own rules and their own feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. And so part of this
So then how do you say that's not real? Oh, the voices they're only real to you.
Right, and that's why she asks a lot of reality questions. She's like asking Dr. Freed and other women, like, is this real? Or like, that's why people don't believe me. And that's why, like, when she reports the abuse about Hobbs, she doesn't think she's going to be believed. And a lot of people with mental health disorders, specifically anything that has to do with psychosis, oftentimes they don't believe that they're going to be believed because they do have things that aren't in reality that happen.
Even without psychosis.
Well, and
there are things when you go into therapy that it's like, if I tell them this, it's so wild, and they're going to say I'm a liar. Everyone else in my life has said I'm a liar about such and such.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing like with SA and, childhood trauma like that.
Yeah.
I've started watching a podcast on YouTube, and it's a psych podcast. And how many of the people call in, and because a lot of the stuff is related to childhood sexual abuse, and how many people have called in and said, I told my mom, I told my parents, and they did nothing.
Right.
They didn't believe me, or they just didn't want to rock the boat.
Right.
So then that fear of going in and telling a complete stranger who doesn't know you, oh, this happened.
Right. Well, and that's why a lot of people with mental health disorders, like, they're often the victims of crime. Like, and then, people who maybe they're not diagnosed with anything, they're not having anything that's very persistent and chronic, but then they end up developing something because they are traumatized in childhood or whatever. But yeah, that's, yeah. This movie's heavy. I think it's great. There's a lot of great lines. I wanted to share one of my favorites with you, at the very beginning, the one woman, again, I can't remember her name, but she's talking to Lee. Lee's like talking about the Supreme Court.
Yes.
And the woman says to her, why don't you lay the Supreme Court? Because she says she has to go present a case to the Supreme Court, and she's like, why don't you lay them? Meaning something sexual. And then there's lots of comments about saying that Deborah's a silly bitch. So, which is something you and I have called each other before. Yeah. So
yeah.
Like, oh, yep.
So she's one of ours. That's great.
And then toward the end of the movie, Deborah says to Carla, she says, bye-bye bimbo or something like that. I was like, oh my God, love it. There's a lot of great stuff in this movie.
There really is. A lot of great lines.
Yeah.
I want to watch it again.
Yeah.
After discussing it with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do that sometimes because like you'll have these thoughts and ideas about what's happening. And I'll rewatch them. Oh yeah.
Can you see it? Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah. Yeah, but and then I get that from you too when you've put things in a different way that I didn't think about it that first time. But I'm definitely watching this again. We have another movie to watch here soon, so I'm probably going to wait to watch it for a little while, but I have to go watch this again. There's so much that happens in this movie. I just loved it so much. I loved all the psychosis. I loved all the people. No, I loved them all losing their stuff.
No. I know what you mean, but it just it hit my funny bone.
Yeah. And Lee taking down the Christmas tree and swinging people with it, and then there's lots of people having restrained.
Who hasn't had a family Christmas where you've had to take the top off the Christmas tree and beat the shit out of Grandma?
Yeah. Seriously. But this movie is just, I don't know, this is so great. I do want to say to anyone who's listening and really, if they watch this movie and they're like, oh my God, is this really, is this true? So I will say a lot of this is probably exaggerated, right? Like not all of this chaos happens all at once on a psych ward or just even in mental health, like out in the community. Right. It's not all of this at once. I think it was for dramatic effect. I think it was to move the story along. I think it was to show these characters off and like
all their glory.
Yeah, all of their glory. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
you only have an hour and a half to show all of
the stuff that happens in 2 years. You mean?
Yeah. So
yeah, I think it is a little bit exaggerated. But yeah, there's a lot of people on the ward that have like schizophrenia and have delusions and paranoia and not so many people talking to themselves, because there's lots of people with schizophrenia will talk to themselves, and we didn't see too much of that except for Deborah talking to herself. But
why they're not really talking to themselves?
They're talking to their voices in their head, but yeah. Well, also, I think the movie did a good job of showing Deborah internally stimulated, so that would be when she was like talking to somebody and she would kind of go off and look off and not pay attention to what they were saying. And you remember in those scenes, and that was when we were going to be seeing a hallucination of Deborah's, but I think they did a good job of depicting that because that's exactly how it would look if someone is hallucinating. Anything else you want to share with the class there,
I'm
Carrie?
just trying to figure out because it said one of the producers was Roger Corman, and I'm like, that Roger Corman?
Who's Roger Corman? I don't know who he is.
He did a lot of low-budget films.
Well, yeah.
That later had... Okay, many of the more than 500 features directed or produced by Corman were low-budget films that later attracted a cult following. And I'm just thinking... He did... back when I was a kid on Saturday mornings, they would show the old Edgar Allan Poe stories when they were movies with Vincent...
Oh, what's his name? I know who you're talking about. I don't remember his last name.
He was in Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Yes. Yeah, he was the voice.
He produced and directed those.
Right.
And they're campy. And after I watched this, I was like, I could see this being his movie.
Well, yeah, because it is. I mean, the shots are low production. I mean, there's a lot of good movies that came out of the 70s. That were better production. But yeah, it was low quality of production. But yeah, acting, phenomenal. Loved it. I give like an A for acting.
And Kathleen Quinlan, I love her in anything I see her in.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else I've seen her in right now, but...
It's funny because I can picture her in all the movies.
Right.
No names.
No names. So yeah, so I definitely recommend people watch this movie. I think it's great.
I do too.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I love it, but I like it a lot.
Yeah. Yep. It's great. I'm going to watch it again. Yeah, and then we don't have to pick our next movie because we already picked Benny and June. Which I'm so excited to watch that one. I haven't watched that in years.
I haven't either.
Yeah, so love it. So find us on our social media profiles on Instagram, TikTok. We've got a website. We've got a YouTube channel.
Did we announce the winners of the mental health?
We did. They're announced on Instagram. They were Barbara and Vivian. I forget their Instagram handles. But yeah, they got their Calm subscriptions for a year, so hopefully they're enjoying that. We wanted to do more giveaways, but that, again, Carrie and I are trying to get our act together.
It's not even, we have our act together, it's just we have very busy lives. We have a lot of people we take care of.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's to be fair. Yeah. And so, maybe next May, if we keep this going in hopes that, like...
Oh, no. It's going to be here.
It's not going away.
It's not going away. It might just be...
Yeah.
Me and my dog. But
yeah. Carrie hallucinating.
Yeah. George and I have a podcast. It's a hit.
Yep. It will be.
Yeah.
I'd love to get Georgia on the mic and see what she has to say.
Listen, every once in a while she looks at me and moves her mouth, and I'm like...
You know exactly what she's saying.
And right? I'm like, use your words.
I would say, is she cursing you out?
No, I just think she's going to talk and be like, I love you, Mommy.
But yeah, find us online and join the conversation. Please leave comments on Spotify or the Instagram posts when we have them. We announce when we have episodes, so we want to hear people's thoughts about... And also, too, just another side note about the movie. We never find out why it was I Never Promised You a Rose Garden. Did we? Why is that the title of the movie?
Dr. Freed says it to her because she said, I'm getting better, but I feel horrible.
I totally missed that.
And Doctor says, I never promised you a rose garden.
Oh my God, I missed that. And that's such a good line.
My question is, because it's a song, did the song come from the movie or did the title come from the song?
Didn't the song come after the movie?
I don't know.
Gosh dang it, we're going to have to research it for the next episode. My guess is that the song came after the movie.
Well, the song came out in 70.
No, then the song came out first. The movie came out in
The
1977.
book came out in 64.
Right. So the song was based off the book? Maybe. So it was the book, the song, then the movie.
They're saying...
All right, maybe we'll look into that further for the next episode and just to confirm
Yeah.
our research, our very extensive research and our very professional
that we do
research
in
every
2 minutes
episode.
while we're on. I almost said while we're on air,
Yes.
but we're
No, on mic recording. But yeah, so until the next episode, everybody, stay safe and
party hard.